Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Heart and Soul Connected and happy solstice. Today, I have the pleasure of having Anne Marie from Angel Star Karma. And
Hello.
welcome. Thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, of course. So I met Anne Marie actually in a psychic development class that we're both taking with Susan and Kim. And we got to do some work with each other one of the first weeks that we were together.
Yeah, we
And
had that
then
practice time.
I know we need to, don't we? Yeah, absolutely. It's like, you got to keep practicing or else, you get a little rusty.
Yeah.
So we met there, and it was there I found out what she does for her spiritual work. And I was fortunate enough to get, oh, look, I've got mine with me too.
I know, I saw that. And we have the trash man coming and I don't want him barking.
Oh, okay.
Keep him calm.
Little shorty here. But she did my karmic astrology chart, and it was awesome. And she's done several other people. She's done Renee from the Tarot Love Community, and hi GGB, and she's done several others as well. And so she's open for business. Let me put it that way. And she's absolutely great. And she won't twist your arms into any kind of pretzel, but she'll let you know maybe why you do the things you do, or what has come around. So I'm going to start by asking you, how long have you been on, let's say, a spiritual path, Henry?
Well, on this spiritual path, it started, I started studying astrology through tarot.
Okay.
Back at the beginning of 2020, when everything started falling apart. But
sound like a lot of people. Yeah.
But I've always had I've been kind of like in and out of different spiritual practices throughout my life. I grew up Catholic, and then married a non-denominational, and we moved from Virginia, Washington, D.C. area to Texas for him to go to seminary. Oh, and so he was going to be a minister, and then through this and that, we ended up getting divorced. And that could be a soap opera. We don't need to go into that.
Yeah, you should have been able to tell that from your chart. But go ahead.
But I didn't know those things then. I wish I did. I wish I did. But but we had 3 kids, and then we got divorced, and so when I divorced him, I kind of divorced the church too, and just kind of like wandered about and got into tarot. Well, I found Byron Katie. I don't know if you're aware.
Yes, I love Byron Katie.
Yeah, I found her first, and that was in like 2007, maybe.
Okay.
I started doing that, and then found tarot in 2012, and started I got a few readings. I didn't think I could read the cards myself. I went to different readers, and then I had some apps on my phone that I would pull a card of the day on the app, and I didn't actually
learn them. Yeah.
Cool. And then I just started studying tarot more around probably 2015 or 16, and then a local gal here in Dallas was offering a class and she combines the tarot and the astrology. And so that's how I got into astrology. And I just bit the hook, and it got
going. That's really an excellent way, because, the tarot is such a story. I don't even know if people really realize it, but the whole thing is just one big story.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
And of course, when you're marrying that with the things that come up in the astrology charts, that's almost like getting a 2 for 1.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know. Well, I think of them together now. Like I think of, I think of the 7 of Cups is Neptune, and it's like the illusion, and and I just get different things, and I just kind of connect them in my head.
That's a good way to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's great. I want to say hello to everybody. I'm not ignoring you. GGB, T-Bar, Melinda, Julie, Lisa.
I don't see anybody. How do I see them?
You have to go to the right. There's a comments box up to the far top.
Oh, there we are. Hi, everybody.
Yeah, there we are. Yeah. And also Renee, thank you. And I brought along April Joy. Actually,
and I have Augie.
And you got a sweetheart as well. I haven't slept in 2 nights. If I put her down, she cries. But I don't know. I'm hoping I don't have to hold her for the rest of my life. You know.
Oh, no, when they're puppies,
that's just normal. Yeah, it's only been 2 days, so yeah. But anyway, so do you still? I remember watching one of your shows. Was it your teacher or a student that was doing your chart on your channel?
I've had. I don't know if the one that I posted recently was Lauren. And the reason why I posted Lauren doing my chart was because I've seen Lauren on a couple of the other channels. She's been on Johnny Tarot Apprentice, and she's been with I'm drawing a blank. The gal that does his show with him, Red Lentil Healing.
Oh, okay.
So Lauren's been on Red Lentil Healing a couple of times as well, and. So I thought, in fact, when I first saw her I was watching in the middle of the night, I pulled up Tarot's Apprentice and was watching a video, and I'm like, oh my God, that's Lauren. I was just like, we've been in class for a year together. And so I was just excited to see that. So I posted her now I did her chart and I didn't post it because I did a really bad job. I was almost starstruck. And so I was just like, I just kept drawing blanks. I'm like, oh my God, Lauren, I'm so sorry. So I didn't post it. But yeah, she was in the class with me, but she had done years of group, like she did moon circles. And so she had studied astrology before that, just not in the same context as the class that I was taking with her. So
there were a lot of people working on the karmic end of it, or was
no? Actually, the karmic stuff, I just so my teacher, the teacher that we took this class with, is Britton LaRue, and she is here in Dallas, and she does workbooks, and she's phenomenal. And so she did she started it was called Charting Your Course. And so we went through each of the elements of astrology and learned astrology that way. And when we got to the module on the nodes, I just like fell down a rabbit hole. I just was like, wait, what? Wait. And so, I mean, she didn't actually even, she just gave us the different option. Like she said, it can be looked at as possible past lives. It can be looked at just as, the things that you come into this life comfortable with that you want to move away from.
Right.
But I just fell into that hole and never came out. I'm just still fascinated with it. So it is fascinating. There's some degree of mathematical precision that goes with this. Am I right? Or have I? Probably.
Maybe if it was
not circles, it's geometry. It is. Yeah, there is the whole geometry of it. And then when you think about, I guess so. I hope it doesn't get that deep though, because I'll.
No. That's why I can't seem to get it. That's my problem, because math and me, we don't get along. But I mean, I always studied, looked at my charts for years. And then, as I mentioned to you, I had a lady do a karmic astrology, which I found fascinating. But you are the second person I've ever seen that does that as well. Okay. So I think it would be fascinating if you worked with some of the readers here on YouTube, maybe like your friend does that was in your class, if you knew who was ahead of time. Like for instance, I know they do the dead famous and things like that, but even if you came on and just read one person with them, it'd be kind of fun to know that would be karma. Yeah, it would be.
Yeah.
It would be.
I did the gals that do the ladies' night. I watched their show one time and just was so fascinated, and that's when I did my Janis Joplin reading, because I was like, I would love to look back at that. And I kind of went a little crazy on that one, because I had I started looking at it like, well, I wonder if I could because they had said that she's getting ready to come back in again. And so if I moved her north node to her ascendant, maybe I could figure out how.
That's right. You wanted to see what was the next life going to be.
Yeah. And then
when they might decide. Yeah.
Kind of exploded.
So you mean Janis Joplin didn't already reincarnate as Amy Winehouse and then leave again?
Not according to the gals. No, they said she's been getting ready. She's been sitting back there getting ready. Yeah.
But those of you who are readers or know your readers and go listen to some of these shows, do let Anne Marie know. I think it would be wonderful to hear what you have to say and hear what the chart had to say about that person's karma.
That would be fun. So yes.
It would be fun. Yeah, even if you only had one, they're talking about 5 people, but you only did one of them, it'd still be fun, just to
absolutely.
Have that input. Yeah. All right. So before we continue, I pulled 3 cards, and the first card I pulled today was Air Spirit. And it tells me that you are knowledgeable and that you learned your craft really well. And, that's what you are. You're an air spirit. And this is what I love next is that you're very playful, like these elves.
I like that.
And you're lots of fun. So I think that would be, that would be awesome. And the final outcome, let's say, of the way that your brand new YouTube channel is going is you're going to transmute and rise like a phoenix.
Ooh, that's
the best. You can do that. Yeah. And I could see you doing more charts for people or even incorporating that with your tarot.
Yeah.
Do you have a certain deck that you like to use for your tarot?
I have so many. The one that I use the most is Benabel Wen's Spirit Keepers.
Ooh.
And that came out in, I think, 2016, and I ordered it, and there's only like 1,000 of them out there. And if you look on eBay, they cost like $350 now or something ridiculous. But
it's worth getting them.
She's reissued it twice.
Okay.
But because the first one's just black and white. The one that I have is just black and white. And then she did one in a sepia tone. And now she's done a 3rd run that's full color that I'm waiting to get. That one, I think anybody can order it now and get it. But that's my favorite deck is the Benabel Wen Spirit Keepers.
Wow. I like that. It kind of goes along with you being an air spirit here. So let's see. Today, Anne Marie is going to share with us a chart that she did on RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yeah.
I had talked to her about it a while ago and asked her, and I did. She surprised me. She has it already to talk about.
But I glanced at it, but I thought we could go through it and just see.
I think it's awesome. That's great. So I'll let you go ahead and try and share your screen and see how that works out for you.
Okay, let's see if we can do this. It gave me tips. Let's see. Chrome tab, horoscope chart, share. Can you see that?
Look at that. It's right beside it. Let me fix this so that we can all see it. No, I can't see it. Whoops. I could see it at the bottom. I don't know. Bottom?
It's taken up my whole screen, so I don't see anything else.
Okay. All right. I see you, but maybe that's just me. Does everybody see the chart there? Can you just give me a thumbs up if you do? All right. So I'm not getting a thumbs up. Hi, Sherry. Well, go ahead and start. You can go ahead and start.
Okay. Well, yeah, I can talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Her birth time is not on record. We don't know what time she was born. So this chart is set up without an ascendant or descendant or midheaven.
Okay.
It's showing Aries in the first house because Aries naturally rules the first house, and that's the start of the zodiac. And so these are all that's one layer of the puzzle is to have those signs in those houses. And then if we knew, what time, then it could shift around. But the first house will always have an Aries element to it, and the second house a Taurus element. So that's the best way to look at a chart when you're not 100% sure of the time. You could also run one for a noon, 12 noon. But I think this one was done with just without the ascendant at all, and just shows the signs. So the first thing that I look at for karmic readings is Pluto's placement, and because that represents the soul's collection of all different lifetimes, and our soul comes into lifetimes with kind of like a habit, where it's a comfortable type of lifestyle, and we don't know what house it's in, but because it's in Cancer, and that's a very generational thing. The sign that Pluto is in is a generational thing, but it does say that that generation really felt the importance of family and home and the roots and your ancestors. And so that was a significant factor in her soul's quest in this lifetime, was, that family and home and her roots were important.
And I think we saw that if you watched the movie about her. I did.
Wasn't that movie great? I love that.
Wonderful. It really was. Yeah.
And you can see it in her chart too, actually, when we get So then, and for whatever reason, some of these chart maker don't show the south node, but the north node is here. So we know that the south node is right over here in between Mars and Neptune in Virgo. And so the south node represents, I call it the carry-on bag of, we come into this life with the things that we're comfortable, what we think we need for this specific lifetime. Because it's like, you get on a plane, you check your bags, but you always have a few items that you bring on the carry-on. Those are the things that you think are most important, that you'll need in the short term. And so that's what I call the south node. And because it's in Virgo, that would indicate that she's very comfortable, or she spent her soul has spent lifetimes focused on lack, being particular about like measuring herself against others and not sure that she measured up. And, fighting against the narcissistic element of, where do I lack, and, how better, like improving oneself. And so that's something that she came into this life for. The fact that her south node is sandwiched in between Mars and Neptune. I think Mars represents action and momentum. It could indicate something as far as like military or a past life related to military action, military involvement, or some sort of, I would look at that as some sort of aggression, because it's so close to the south node. There's some element there that would have come over from another life. And Neptune is about faith and dreams and imagination. And so being sandwiched there in the middle, I would see that as some sort of religious persecution, possibly. Also with Jupiter so close, it's a very loose conjunction, but all three of these are retrograde too. And so when in evolutionary astrology and you see the retrograde planets, you can't help but think that it's possible, that that's an element from a past life, because it's doing it again, the redo. So the ruler of the south node, the planet that rules the sign that the south node is in, you look to that for some more clues, and that would be Mercury. And Mercury again is retrograde. And Mercury can also represent a sibling. And so what I found interesting in this lifetime, her sister, the firstborn child of her parents, her sister, I think her name was Marilyn. Marilyn died at the age of 6 when Ruth was only 14 months old. And so because Mercury is in Aries and it's in what's called a quincunx to the moon, like the moon sometimes, can represent the mother. And then her mother died before she was in high school. So these kind of show up as elements there for this lifetime.
Right. Gosh,
And
amazing. It speaks to all her strength in some way. It's like she had to be strong.
Yeah.
And she had that military or that, and the religious thing because she was Jewish.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
And then I look for what's called the well, and also her sun and her Venus. I mean, that speaks to that whole, how many times did she have to deal with being female, and that being pushed down because she was female, the whole the notion of when she was in Harvard and the dean like invited them all to dinner and said to the females, why are you here taking up the space of a man? I think that's ridiculous. So, here she is trying to shine, and her femininity is right there with it. So I love that part of her chart too.
Absolutely.
The next step I look at is what I call the trauma signature, and you look for planets in either the 11th house, which we don't know which house this is, or Aquarius. And she has Saturn in Aquarius. And so you look to see if there's any harsh aspects to that planet. Harsh aspects are squares or oppositions or conjunctions. And Saturn is squaring the moon. So that again is a indication, I think, of her having lost her mother at a young age. But in a past life, it could have been like Saturn sometimes represents the father. And so there could have been an element of, and it's also quincunxing down here to Jupiter. So yeah, there's a lot there too that I didn't really delve a whole lot into.
Sure.
I got caught up in all the stuff that represents her in this lifetime. So and then you look at Uranus and see what, if there's any, because Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. And so you look to see if there's any harsh aspects to Uranus. And actually Uranus is squaring Pluto. And so that would indicate a desire for freedom and wanting freedom in Aries. That's almost like a youthful energy and a desire to be free since youth. So that would be another element that you look at is the moon. The last planet that the moon passed before birth would indicate something from the past. But we've already discussed Jupiter in relation to the south node. And then the next planet that the moon touches right after birth would be Saturn. And so then again, there's significance there, restriction, limitation. It could be, it could be related back to this religious persecution idea, could be, starvation or something. So that's really, do you see anything else you want to ask? Can I come back? See you.
You certainly can come back. Yeah, everybody. I'm sorry you couldn't see the chart. And she did have it up, but I appreciate her explaining it.
Yeah.
I just find it so fascinating, especially in light of the fact that, she's passed now, and we can look back at and we can see all those things that were
I know. Isn't it incredible?
Yeah.
If I had spent more time, I might do a long video on her because, that would be interesting. And then I could pull in my little trick with the North Node to the Ascendant to see if we can see what she comes in next time.
Yeah.
But there is a lot more that, like if I had gone and done her Saturn returns to see where those happened, what happened in her life at that point, or
I'm trying to think.
Things.
I think she was elevated to the Supreme Court, wasn't she, by Bill Clinton? And I want to say that was in the 90s. And that was, do you think that might have been, what year was she born?
She was born in 33.
Okay.
March 15th of 33.
Okay.
So, sorry, I had these notes and everything.
Okay.
Her father was an immigrant from Ukraine, and her mother was born in New York, but to Polish immigrants. And so that's a Jupiter type indication, because Jupiter is Sagittarius, is foreign travel. And so there was that element as well.
but she, so if it, let's say it was 92, because I think that's when, and I don't know if that's when she was elevated, but
I don't.
she would have been at 59. See,
Right?
so,
Yeah.
yeah. There's a Saturn return on that, and
Yeah.
that's one of the big ones, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the second Saturn return. That's when I'm coming up on. So,
oh, well, good for you.
yeah.
Mine was a little difficult, but not real bad. And they say that, I want to see what you think about this. I've heard that when you're going through your Saturn return, which is what, 59 and a half to 62?
The second, yeah, it could be like 58 to 60, depending on, yeah. But
and are you, whatever happened to you around the age of 29 kind of comes back, and if you haven't taken care of what was needed to be done then, you get that now? Is that
possibly? Yeah, possibly. Okay. It could be, it could just be to the extent where whatever, like, because Saturn goes around the chart and then you're an adult.
Right.
Saturn is the Lord of karma. And so he's going around the chart and checking in at each of the points in the chart and challenging you. What are your limits? You're learning your limits in all of the different aspects, all of the different houses in your chart.
Right.
And so then at 29, when you have your first Saturn return, it says, okay, now what? Now you're an adult. Now what? And then you go through the second time. And when you have your second Saturn return, it could bring back up that same spot, or that same thing may not even matter anymore. Like it may,
if you faced it the first time, let's say.
And it could just say, you're an adult at 29, and then for me, I'm looking at it, we're calling it crone rising. We're going into the phase of, the maiden, from the maiden to the woman to the
maiden, mother crone.
Crone, exactly. And so I'm looking forward to that crone rising,
Oh, I really love the energy of the crone. I do. There's even a group that I sometimes meet with on Zoom during the different 4 quarters of the year, and they do crone. It's crone wisdom. It's all women over the age of,
that would be
whatever,
awesome.
55, 56, whatever. So Renee says, yes, the SCOTUS appointment was in 93. That would put it right in there.
Yep.
That is so awesome. And wow. I remember when I had my first Saturn return, it was hell. It was horrible for me. I was pregnant with my son at the time, which was not a bad thing in and of itself, but there was a lot of problems in the marriage, and ultimately his father and I only stayed together for another 7 months or something like that. So I essentially had this baby, and then I was alone again, and I had my 7-year-old as well. But when I went through the second one, I couldn't have a baby after that. But, sometimes you see a birth, and it could be the birth of a new business or
absolutely
things like that.
Yeah. Moving across country. It could, any kind of new start, new thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. So it is funny. I must mention this in case you just didn't know, but Renee's last name is Crone.
Okay.
And she says crones have the best
stories. Yes, they do. Amen.
So that's awesome.
I love that.
Sherry, thanks for coming by. Okay. Thank you. So if somebody did want you to do a regular chart, would you do a regular chart for them as well? Or are you just more interested? Oh, you would? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it would just, if past lives kind of creeps them out, because some people are really, they don't believe in that, and they don't want to, and that's fine. I mean, I'm not saying you had a past life,
Right. I know. If you did.
So the astrology could still,
sure.
Absolutely. Sure. I would love to do that. Yeah.
I think of it actually, it probably would creep a lot of new mothers out, but it would be kind of cool to have one on your child to know kind of how that may progress. But
I know.
To know.
I wouldn't be comfortable doing somebody's child's chart unless they're like for my close friend or for my, Yeah. But I wouldn't, I would be I would be hesitant to do somebody else's.
I see a serial killer in this chart. That would be
exactly. I don't know. Yeah, there's just too much. Although I really think that they should teach astrology to children.
I agree.
Because that's I mean, then you know what to expect. You don't think, like for me, when everything hit, it was like, you know, what is happening? You know, and if I had known that when Pluto came charging through the whole first house,
this may be a difficult time and things like that. Yeah, absolutely. And hello, Jen. I want to say hello, and Johanna, hello. I know that there is also an astrology of place. I think I brought it up with you before. But you can do like astrocartography, and it tells you places. Actually, it tells you more about if you wanted to go visit a place, what you may encounter living in that place.
Yeah. I'm not too familiar with that, but I know there's somebody called Gemini Brett, and he talks about that all the time. And that's, yes, it's fascinating.
Yes. Because I remember doing it, actually did it on Astrodienst, which is, it's a website. And I remember I was thinking at one point, where am I going to live? And I put in Tucson, and it was like, no. It was like the worst place for me to live. I'm sure it's fine for other people, but for me, it wasn't a good choice. So, but it is interesting also that, when you're born in one place. You don't always stay there. I mean, some people do, but most people don't.
No.
And what it would be like to be somewhere else.
Yeah.
And how that all works. The other thing that I find fascinating about astrology is you can also take two people's charts and see if there's
the synastry. I'm getting ready to start a class on that, so that'll be fun.
Are you? Yeah. Oh, I would love to. Oh, that sounds wonderful.
Yeah. Not teaching it. I'm learning it. I'm getting ready to
learn how to.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to do those charts.
So then I'll be able to do that. Yes.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Okay. No. So you're pretty excited, and you want to stay within this particular, or are you also interested in other?
I don't know. I mean, there's so much to learn, I don't think there's any one thing that you could just, I mean, like there's medical astrology, that where you could, learn, all about like, okay, well, I mean, I know that I'm a Capricorn, and we have trouble with our knees. And I was like, that's ridiculous. And now that I'm getting older, I'm like, yeah, I see that.
Mine's kidneys, and I have problems with my kidneys. Yeah. When you had done my chart, you told me of a time period where something was happening, and I thought it was one thing. And I think you mentioned something like you surprised a lot of people, or you did something, and at the time didn't think of it. You know how that happens.
Yeah.
Well, I had a gastric bypass done in 1996, and that was pretty new. Some people had them done. Not very many people had them done.
Oh, wow.
And so I wasn't a guinea pig, but it had only been around for maybe 5 or 6 years. Mm-hmm. So I and I was living in Houston, and I went in to see my doctor, and I got on the phone with a woman who did astrology, and I said, I need to know when it's a good time for a stomach, so where the cancer sign is in the stomach at the time. And so she said, well, I would rather that you wait till December. And this was like in March or something. And I couldn't wait that long.
Yeah.
But she said, if you have to do it, then this window works really well. I mean, it would be okay. Let's put it that way.
See, that's fascinating, isn't it?
I know.
Gosh.
So I was at the office, and they called me, and they said, okay, we want to schedule your appointment like next week or something, or whenever it was. And I said, oh, no, I can't do it then. And they said, why? What's wrong? And I said, well, my astrologer tells me that it's not a good time for me to have my stomach operated on at that time and all that stuff.
Wow.
So she went, okay. And then every time I came in, it was like people from out back. There's that weird woman who follows her chart and won't get So it was really
they just don't know. They just don't know.
No, they don't know. And I really didn't I worried more about it then. I was only in my 40s, and I worried more about what people thought about me, especially there, because there you have to be a little bit more careful even than out here. But it worked out okay, but it was pretty funny that and I just remembered that how they were so, oh my God, that woman,
surprise. Yeah.
Surprise. Yeah. Hi, Sheila. Inquisitive. How are you? Yeah. I'm glad everybody's here.
I know. That's great.
Does anyone in the chat does anyone have any questions about astrology at all? While we got Anne Marie on. Yeah, she can't read your chart right now, but you know,
might be able to answer a question. Yeah. If it's general, maybe. Well,
yeah, general question. Tell us about actually. Well, I'll give people time to write something if they want, but tell us a little bit about the two nodes. What does the north node and what does the south node mean in a chart?
Yeah, the south node is, well, I mean, do you mean like what are the nodes or what do they mean? Like the nodes?
What is it that they mean, I guess, in someone's chart? Yeah.
Yeah. The south node is Ketu and the north node is Rahu. And so it's Ketu karma and Rahu is your life path. And so and karma is not a ledger where you owe this, or you know, karma is a contract that you made in before you came in. It
doesn't have to be good or bad. It's just a contract.
It's neutral. It's neutral. And so and you know, when bad things happen, and if it is karma related, which it probably is, it's you chose it. You know, I mean, it's like you chose the people, or they volunteered. The people that love you the most are the ones that chose to come in and do the bad things, you know, so you could learn that lesson.
You could learn a lesson.
That's a hard way to look at it, but
it is.
But yeah, it's not a debt. It's not paying off of a debt or anything like that. It's just a contract.
But as far as, could it be a debt? Let's say, I know it isn't a word that you want to particularly use, but let's say you had a situation in your past life with somebody and they treated you poorly, or you treated them poorly, and then they'll come back in and do that to you. Can that happen?
It can happen. We generally have, I believe in, you know, the way I see it is we generally have the same soul group that we play different parts, you know, like, you know, it's not always your husband is your husband, and he could be your brother.
My dad, actually. Yeah.
Your dad, or you know, it could be your mom, you know, I mean, we could, you know, but we generally have the similar people in our lives from previous lifetimes as well. And they just play the role a different way. So it's, I heard somebody last night actually on the Beyond Belief show with George Nuri, I think. And she's a psychic trainer. Her name was Dr. Lauren. Anyway, she said that she always talks about Jesus and Judas. And so, like, who are you going, you know, you're a Messiah. Who are you going to have? And when you're filling out your contracts before coming into life, who are you going to choose? Who's going to volunteer to betray you? The person that loves you the most is going to be the one. So, because nobody else is going to.
Nobody else knows everything about you. Isn't it? Yeah, I know.
So, so it's, you know, it's hard. I mean, like, and, you know, you can go to really hard cases like, you know, like Hitler. And that's why I said in one of my videos, like, I got just overwhelmed with, you don't want to get into judging other people's karma, you know, because you can take it on yourself that way.
Yeah,
you know,
we don't need that.
You don't need to judge other people's karma.
That's right. It's our own. Yeah.
I mean, clearly you can look at the actions and not like them, but you don't want to go into wondering why. And
yeah. And I know there's a lot of people here, if you haven't delved into astrology, you know, you look up your birth chart, or you'll look it up, you know, like you're a Pisces, so you read the Pisces.
Right.
But there are other parts that are just as important to you.
Absolutely.
The rising sign, the moon.
The rising sign, I think, is the most important because that sets the houses in order. And the houses represent the parts of our life, not like age groups, but the areas in life that, like, the first house is I am, the second house is I have, you know, the things that are important to you, value. The third house is I think, or I learn. The fourth house is I care, or I nurture. The fifth house is I create. The sixth house is I serve. And then those are all the I's. And then you go into the couples, you know, I couple or I partner. And then I merge. or I invest. And then I teach, and then I achieve, I aspire, and I dream. So it's just all the areas around the chart. And so knowing your rising sign fits those houses in the right place. Your sun sign is obviously important because the sun is you shining. That's who you are.
Sure.
And then your moon is, well, and also the sun is like your father and the moon is like your mother. And so the two of them together make you, you know, so it's like the sun is your emotions, though, your feeling, your relatability. And then the sun is your drive and your
ambition.
Yes. But your rising sign is who you actually present to the world.
Well, then I'm a Capricorn. And so I love paperwork.
Yeah.
But you know, I
know how to get things done.
I get things, try to anyway. Yeah. But my Pisces moon gets in the way. It makes me very sad and very. So Melinda has a question, and I think it's an easy question, but she says, I believe she's an Aries. Is that right?
Aries, April 9th.
April 9th.
Another says it's Pisces. I have a little cheat sheet right here that I have. Let me look what it says.
Okay.
April 9th would be Aries. Yeah.
And oh, I see, Sheila, your sister's April 6th, and she's an Aries. Yeah. Yep. And if you there's also a thing called a polar opposite, correct?
Yes.
So Aries polar opposite would be a Libra, and
Aries would be yes.
Yeah. My brother was an Aries, and my other brother and I are Libras, and he was always the polar opposite of us.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah.
Well, the polarity points are, I mean, like anything, like the South Node going to the North Node. That's the trajectory that we have in our life, and so any point on the chart, and I thought, you know, I don't know, this might seem like, well, duh, but it kind of struck me as like, in life, when we meet people that are total opposites and we want to push them away because they're so different from us and we don't agree with the thing they are, we need them to complete ourselves. Like we
do.
Those are the things we're missing in ourselves. And so I think that's, I mean, all of the polarity points make the circle. So
absolutely. Yeah. And my feeling is that everybody that is also here in this community, let's say, of different, you know, which a lot of us share community members, have all lived before together or have agreed to meet up at this time. I like to
help each other along. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely. So Janet, I don't know where you live, hon, but I don't know why your birth certificate wouldn't have your birth time.
Mine doesn't either. Mine didn't either. I didn't know what time I was born. And so I had to go through what's called a rectification. And I had two different people do my rectification, and both of them came within 2 minutes. So I feel pretty confident that my time is correct. But
it's correct.
But there are, the rectification, that's another specialty that people, you know, but the one girl that I had do my rectification, I didn't even intend to go to her for that. I just told her, well, I don't really know what time I was born. But I think I'm a Capricorn rising because I'm just so Capricorn. So Capricorn sun, Capricorn rising. I just really am very.
And it apparently depends upon what time of the day you were born will bring your rising sign to you.
Exactly. What time, because that's the constellation that's rising at when you take your first breath. So the Eugenia Kroc is the astrologer, and she has Accessible Astrology is her website. And she did my rectification just by asking me a few questions. And she said this, and then she'd move things around. She's like, no, you're Capricorn rising.
Wow. So that means you were well, if you were born on my birthday, it would have been 2:10 p.m. That was my Capricorn. But it just depends. It could
it depends on what time. But I was I was born at 7:27 a.m. apparently. So I knew I was born in the morning. I just didn't know what time.
Yeah.
But it was the third child born to my parents, and I was born a week before their third wedding anniversary. So I had a sister that was 12 months older than me and a sister that was 14 months older than her. So we were all really, so my mom didn't have time to bother with
it. Don't they call those like, they call those something like something twins. And I can't think of what, in your case, it's three.
Yeah.
There's a word for it, like, not Dutch twins, but something like that. I can't remember.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. But really close together.
Yes. Very close together.
Like mom was just getting ready for, living again. And then she got pregnant.
Exactly. Yeah. It was crazy. Yeah. So poor mom. Poor mom.
So, just explain that, because Janet didn't understand what rectification meant.
Okay. It's when an astrologer who is very well versed in planetary alignments and everything will look at your chart, like, because what day you were born and where you were born. And and if like if it was morning or afternoon, like if you can, the most you can narrow it down, the better. And then they will like pull things around, move the planets around to certain points in your life and see, okay, well, when this was going on, what was going on here? Or they can ask you, like this girl, Eugenia, asked me just, do you do this or that? And I'd be like, well, that. And she just kind of asked me
clarification.
And was able to figure it out. And then and then the program that I use, I found is called Mastro, and it's an astrology program that actually talked about that they could do rectification with that program. And so I bought the program thinking I could figure it out to confirm or deny my Capricorn rising. And the gentleman that wrote the program actually helped me, and he did my second rectification. So he went through all of these.
He had the same sort of
it took him months to do it, though. He was just doing it kind of like on the side. Okay. So it took him months, and he would come back every now and then and ask me another question, and I'd give it. And then he had me do a personality test, and he had my boyfriend do a personality test for me, like answer questions, and then he came back with this 2 minutes off the other girl, and she only did it in like 5 minutes. And so it's like,
well, it was good practice for him, but it just happened to take a long time.
But I hope that helps. Did that answer your question, or do you understand it? It's like a scientific question answer thing about your personality and just different times in your life to see if anything significant would happen in those times to figure out
when you were born, what time you were born.
Right. Like what rising sign, it may not get you right to the exact time. It can, there are some people that can, but that's like the people that do that can be really expensive.
Sure. Yeah.
But if you found out just the range, like to know which rising sign you are, I think that's good to go. You're good to go on that one.
Wow. She said she even tried the ancestry program and it wasn't listed. My mother never knew hers either, but of course she was born in 1920 at home. Yeah, so it wasn't like a hospital, but most people that have been born in a hospital, there's usually a record, or there was.
Well, who knows now? No, mine. Yeah. Well, and I was born the day after Christmas. So I think that's part of it too, is the doctor was thinking holidays. Everybody was thinking holidays, get out of town. And so they never wrote the time down. So it's like, okay.
They had to wrap their gifts. They had to go home,
Yeah, exactly.
So Jill said, yes, it's Irish twins. If you're
there we go. Irish Catholic.
Yep. Wow. Your time isn't listed either, Sheila? That's funny. I guess I haven't realized that.
No, on Ancestry.
It wouldn't be on Ancestry, but
there is a website that will do, like, it has just it would be a rough guesstimate, but it kind of has little multiple choice things that you can pick on a website, and and it's free, and it could help. I forget what that website is. I will look it up and post it in the comments.
That would be great.
That's
great. Wow. So anybody else have any other questions before we head out here? I do want you to please go over and take a look at Anne Marie's channel. Some of us volunteered to have her do our readings so you could see what it's like.
Yeah.
You do not have to have your reading posted online.
No, absolutely not.
I just want you to know that.
Yeah, no. We don't. If I do, I ask people when I'm doing their readings if they are comfortable letting me post it. And if they think ahead of time, sure. And then something comes up in the reading where they're like, I really don't want it. And then I'm like, fine, that's absolutely fine.
But they can have a copy of it for themselves if you do post, if you do it anyway. So I just wanted you to know that that's an option that, you certainly can do. But it is fascinating. If you've never had it done, then, it's really worth it. It's so much fun. And I'm excited to hear that you're going to do is it called synastry? Is that what you said?
Synastry. Yeah. I'm going to.
So you'll be able to see how people get along with their spouses or
I've dabbled with it a little bit, but I haven't really studied it a lot. So I'm looking forward to studying it and learning more about it.
Yeah.
Can I just add to that? I have 80 subscribers, which I'm very excited about. Thank you all for the 80 that have subscribed. When I get to 100, I am going to, my boyfriend is a blacksmith and he has hand forged a magic wand that I am going to do a drawing. I have one for me. So it's a beautiful hand forged. It won't be this long. It's the one that he's made is like, which this is way too long for, but tarot readers can use it to point to the cards, and so it's multi-purpose. But anyway, I'm going to have a drawing for that when I get to 100 subscribers. So if you want to share my YouTube,
please go over, like and subscribe, and also here. It's taken me a while. I've been here since November, and I'm just over 600. It takes a while, but it gets there. And everybody here is so wonderful, and so I appreciate that. And Jill says she's having her chart reading with you tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow.
I know. Good. That's great, Jill. That's awesome.
She sent me lots of questions, so we're going to be able to look at those questions and see. If
I'm excited for you. I think you'll enjoy it very much. Yeah. Well, anything else that needs to be said here? If they need to get a hold of you, if you look in. What is it?
I'm on Renee's. I'm on the Tarot
on the TLC.
And yes, and I'm not sure exactly how, because somebody sent me a message through the Tarot Love community, but it didn't tell me what their email address was. And, and I couldn't find the message when I went over to the community. So Renee, if you hear me, I don't know. I think I sent you the email to try to figure out who it was. I never found out who that was. So my email address is AYEMOLOGY, that's Amology or Anne Marie ology, but at gmail.com. So you can always send me an email.
Yeah, and she'll need to know your birth date and place and time if you have it. Yeah,
yeah.
You could do it without the time, but
I could do it without. It just wouldn't be as thorough. But it, like we did with Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
With Ruth Bader,
things and
very good. All right, everybody, thanks for coming by.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I had a great time. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.